concrete poetry. It's also called visual poetry, and it's a very interesting field of study. Here, in visual poetry or concrete poetry, typographical elements, that is the letters, the paragraphs, or the stanzas or syllables, they are arranged in such a way that their arrangement conveys the meaning. You have to read the poem, of course, but even before you read the poem, you see it appearing on the page, and you know that it talks about a specific topic. For instance, there is a song shaped like wings. The lines are arranged in such a way that when you look at the page, you see wings, the W-I-N-G-S, wings. And the poem talks about wings. There's a poem that is in the shape of an altar, a church altar. And you see that it's about a church altar. And then there are poems which are written in a slanting fashion. The words are arranged in a slanting way, and it looks like rain to our eyes. Okay, when we see the page, we remember rain, and it is about rain. So this is concrete poetry where the visual aspect is very significant. So they're arranged in the words and the letters are arranged in specific shapes and forms, and whatever shape it assumes, that is the theme of the poem. And they form sometimes these graphic and geometric images are also incorporated. Now, how did it originate? How did it come into being? There were shaped poems in the 3rd and 2nd centuries BC in Greek Alexandria. Okay, there were poems that were written in specific shapes. So the concrete poetry emerged in Greek Alexandria through these shaped poems. In the Church of Saint Valentine in Germany, on the wall or ceiling, there is this image that you see on the screen. Okay, so if you look closely, you can see that it's a circular pattern. It's a spiral pattern. There is it's like a spire. You know, it goes round and round and round, and there are certain letters written there. Okay, the letters, the meaning of the letters is given here. Justice suffered in great need. Truth is slain dead. Faith has lost the battle. Falsehood is of high birth that makes the God, the Lord, angry. Oh man, let go that you may not be lost eternally. Praise justice. Okay, so it is about this. It's a spiral of justice. It talks about justice, and these words are inscribed in the shape of a spiral. Okay, it is written in a spiral shape. So all these are rudimentary forms of visual poetry or concrete poetry. Now, it was earlier called pattern poetry. Here, for instance, it indicates a spiral pattern. So later on, it became concrete poetry or visual poetry, like in the case of Easter Wings by George Herbert. The poem is written on the right side. Now, if you rotate the text a bit, you will get the image. I mean, the poem is given on the left side. If you rotate it, you get the image on the right side. If you look from a little far away, it resembles wings. Okay, so it is about Easter wings. The altar. Now, imagine a Christian church, and there's an altar there, and you look at the picture. Don't look at the words, just look at the image on the page, and you see the image of an altar. Same thing, The Mouse's Tale by Lewis Carroll. So it is written, Fury said to a mouse that he met in the house, let us both go to law. So this is written in such a way that it resembles a mouse's tail. It is about a mouse's tail also. Now, Il Pleut by Apollinaire, it's a French poet. So this is a poem written in French, and it is written in the form of, it is written in a slanting fashion, resembling a drizzle. So it is about Il Pleut means rain. Now, this was a phenomena of the 1950s, earlier than the 1950s, and recently, after during the later part of the 20th century, people like Eugene Gombringer, they also wrote pattern poetry. So some features of pattern poetry are given here. The use of a radically reduced language, typed or printed in such a way as to force the visible text on the reader's attention as a physical object and not simply as a transparent carrier of its meanings. So it's a radically reduced meaning, a reduced language. They don't use full sentences. The language is quite reduced so that it would fit into that pattern. And the visible text is forced into our eyesight as a physical object. It looks like an object, as a wing, as an altar, as rain. Okay, and it is not just, it's not, you don't have to read the text to know that it talks about rain or about the winds. You just need to look at it, and the object forces its presence into your visual field. Now, it could be a single word with the letters organized in such a way, or it could be a sentence. It could be number of sentences or even syllables. And poets also take resort to using fonts, various fonts and colors and variations in sizes. And there are kinetic poems. Okay, as we turn the pages, the shape of the poem changes. So suppose the first section deals with rain and the second section deals with fire. The first page will look like rain and the second page will look like fire, the arrangement of the letters. Now, there are contemporary pattern poets like Mary Swenson, John Harlander, Emmett Williams, Jonathan Williams, and Mary Ellen Salt. So if you can look up these writers, you will see really interesting patterns,